Hello, this is Heidi Ellsworth, and we are back at METALCON Live on the Metal Coffee Shop sound stage. And I have to tell you, I am really excited. We have big news, and we are breaking the news right here on the show floor. The new CEO for MetalForming, Steve. Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
And I think we've also kind of broken the record too, because I have Jeff Stone here, who I didn't think I would ever get him into the interview seat, and I'm pretty excited about it. So Jeff, welcome.
You're lucky today,
I know. I'm going to go put some money somewhere, because I do think I'm pretty dang lucky today. So let's start out, gentlemen, with some introductions. So Steve, can you introduce yourself and kind of talk a little bit about your experience, and just starting with MetalForming?
Sure. So I'm now 1 week into the job. So I leave that as an asterisk on anything I may say. It can't be held against me. But have worked on the fringes of this industry, if you will. Started my career with Siemens. And in that experience, sales leadership, operational roles of marketing, P&L management, sold capital equipment into various industries.
Excellent.
Also, the portion of Siemens I was part of also sold into the construction industry.
Okay.
So a lot of the contractor relationships and channel challenges and such, I've been part of. Was there for over 20 plus years, and then did a 180 in my career, and I went and ran a U.S. subsidiary for a Swiss-based company called Fisher Connectors.
Very cool.
And so I have the German and the Swiss experience and time that I've spent with those manufacturers. And then most recently I was working for a company down south of Atlanta called Southern States, selling capital equipment into the utility space. So in a lot of ways, in that last role, I did a lot of fabrication responsibility. I was running one of their divisions, so a lot of the types of machines that we are now representing are similar to what we would use in that process.
Well, welcome. You finally found, the home right here, right?
There you go.
Well, we looked at a lot of candidates, and we vetted them very, very strongly. And he bubbled to the top very early on and ended up staying.
I was going to say,
It's not something we did lightly or without a heck of a lot of work.
No, because Jeff, you have a long history in this industry. So first of all, why don't you introduce yourself real quick, and then I would love for you to share with us a little bit about MetalForming and how you started it and the history.
Well, I'm Jeff Stone. I'm the founder of MetalForming. What really happened was, before MetalForming, I stumbled over this technology in Europe called Schwenkbigge Maschinen, or swing bending machines. And I brought the technology to the U.S. for another company, and then I became a partner with the German family who was a big provider of that technology. I renamed it folding because swing bending sounded really awful.
Yeah.
And my partnership with that German family ended in 1997, and I started MetalForming. And after that, we just took off, and then we brought many, many, many other new technologies and companies to the United States. And as I'm getting ready to retire here, tomorrow's our 25th anniversary. We've sold 8,900 machines.
Whoa.
And now it's time for somebody else.
Someone else to sell some of that. There you go. It's going to happen. Well, you know what, Jeff, I think too, as you talk about bringing the machines in and having MetalForming and really bringing that to the industry, I know, because this is how you and I met, that you also brought technology in with those machines a lot.
What made us successful was we spent a lot of time talking to customers, asking them what their problems were, and then we would go out into the world and try and find a solution.
Right.
We don't build anything. We're not really engineers. We have a number of patents, and we have introduced a lot of new technology, but we've done it with European partners. Why European? Because there simply is no better engineering in the world than you'll find in Germanic-speaking countries of Austria, Switzerland, and Germany.
Yeah.
And that's where all of our stuff comes from.
That's the thing.
So the engineering is absolutely superior. They come up with the most elegant solutions to the problems we bring them, and then we teach them how to market them.
Yeah, and you've done an amazing job at that.
We've been successful, and the company has grown beautifully, and we believe that we can double the size of the company over the next 5 years, and that's the result of bringing in new talent, new energy, new ideas.
Right.
And it's time.
And everything. It's time. Well, I have to say, walking past your booth here at the show at MetalCon, It's huge. It's like you have an aisle that goes through the middle of your booth. It's that big. Steve, looking at that and looking at all the machinery, I know you just started, but that's pretty dang impressive with your history to see that, to kind of see all the opportunity and potential.
You know, for me, there's a saying that a mature company should never forget the reason why it was born.
Right.
And I listened to Jeff, and he talks about how he got in this business and the focus on the customer, the focus on solving the customer's problems, partnering with premier companies with high-end engineering capability, design capability, and driving that level of customer service to take care of the customer's problem. You know, it is a great base to start from.
Yeah.
And we need to take that and build upon it, but not lose the core competencies and the core reasons the company came to be to begin with. And that's going to be our challenge, is to grow the business and scale the business, but not lose any of the core reasons why the business came to be, which in the end talks about taking care of the customer with technology that solves their problems and items that they need to do. So at that level, I think we have an opportunity to continue to evolve. I mean, the world's evolving, our customers are evolving, our competitors are evolving, technology is evolving. I mean, so like any company, we need to evolve and leverage all of that, but we have a great foundation to start from.
Whenever I get an opportunity to watch Chad work those machines over there and how it comes, basically, I mean, I know we talked about that there's opportunities from drones to take measurements to come into the machine and then to do some programming. It's pretty impressive.
Well, that actually turned out to be pretty successful. On the other hand, I did not exploit that inside of MetalForming. We started another company that still exists today called Pointivo.
Yes.
That has done the exploitation of that technology. I didn't feel like MetalForming was a software company and that we're a hardware company.
Right.
And I didn't think we would do a good job of that. I still own a chunk of the Pointivo company, and we passed that technology on to them when the company started. But it was one more example of how we looked at problems, and we said, there has to be a better way to do this, and there's technology, and we just have to figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
So in that particular case, we didn't go to Europe. We went to Georgia Tech University.
Yes,
and,
I remember. I was there.
We developed that with the civil engineering group there. But we owned the technology through the development, and it's been very successful.
And it's bringing that technology to the contractors with machines, whether it's in sheet metal shops, however they're functioning, they're able now to take that to a whole new level.
Yes, it's really universal in the roofing contractor business today.
Right.
And now the other part of our business that's evolving very rapidly is automation. Okay. The problem that everyone's having with labor, with finding labor, keeping labor, finding qualified labor, has just become enormous. The pandemic, of course, created it or grew that problem exponentially, and it still exists. And we're seeing a lot of movement toward automation, and we are developing a lot of automation products with our European vendors as we speak. And even though I won't run that path anymore, Steve will. I believe over the next 5 to 10 years that automation is going to be the entire story.
Well, and with that automation, they only need a technician running the machine, correct?
More or less, and actually the machines are so intelligent now and have the ability to communicate so well that we can monitor those machines remotely very, very easily.
Wow. Okay.
So it's called the fourth industrial revolution, the Internet of Things.
Yeah.
And all of our European vendors are compatible to that technology, and we're doing much more remote support now than we ever did before, and I think that's going to grow exponentially as well.
Huge. Where they can call in and get that kind of
we just talk directly to the machine. We don't bother with the customer.
Wow.
So, I mean, they got to call us and tell us something is wrong.
But then you're able to talk directly to it.
Clearly we can go into the controls and we can see so many things from so many sensors. And actually the machines are also in process of beginning to communicate with each other. So a slitting machine can communicate with a folding machine, and the folding machine can tell the slitting machine, hey, I need some of this.
Wow.
And the slitting machine can change the coil, produce some of this, and send it to the folding machine. That's all underway right now.
That's all.
And it's It's real. It's in its infancy. It is real,
Yeah.
and it is developing, and it will be the future.
Well, I was going to ask you, what's next? What's the focus today? And you just automation.
It's
That's
automation.
it.
It's. We all know that it's a shame that the American education system has not produced workers for factories. They simply have not done so, and so we have to do it ourselves.
Right. And technology always steps
now
in.
There's lots of new jobs for lots of smart people that want to take care of this equipment.
Right.
I mean, robots take service.
Right.
And we're currently integrating our first robots with machines, and there will be a different opportunity for workers coming along. And if you think about it, it's not a great thing to stand in front of a folding machine all day long and flip parts back and forth. So if we can automate the processes that are less desirable work, then that's a very positive thing. And I think you'll see that over the next decade.
Yeah.
Big time.
It becomes quality of work, life.
Yeah.
As it's going through.
Yeah.
So, Steve, with your experience in so many surrounding industries, working with machinery and selling it, how do you see, I mean, to me, we're very prejudiced when it comes to the metal and roofing worlds, but it seems to me like this is cutting edge. Is that what you're seeing coming from, that this is just taking the lead?
From my perspective, there's a lot of commonality in the different areas and different space, servicing, commercial and residential construction market in general. A lot of the same challenges, but I think what Jeff mentions holds true. I mean, every place is challenged with finding workers.
Yes.
Every place is looking for efficiency gains, productivity gains. I mean, that's commonplace, and a lot of the equipment I've been involved with in my past does just that. So the trend is there. For me personally, I'm very fortunate. There's so much talent inside of our organization and technology knowledgeable people that are inside our organization that gives me a little bit of breathing room and people to learn from, and that's what's been so wonderful about this week.
Yeah.
Is sitting here with virtually every machine, almost machine type represented, where I can see it run, I can understand what's behind it, and actually listen in as we talk to customers.
Right.
So it's been a great experience for me to be here this week.
Yeah, that's excellent. So, Jeff, you've been doing this for quite a while. And long time. Advice to contractors who want to start sheet metal shops, who want to start fabricating or doing metal forming. What is some of your advice on how they can get started?
Well, they should think about buying modern technology and not look for the older style of equipment, because there's just a significant advantage and many benefits to modern technology. Servo-driven products as opposed to old hydraulic-driven products and the like. The other thing I would recommend that they understand that when they buy a piece of machinery, they're buying more than that. They're buying the company that supports it, and they ought to spend a significant amount of their decision time thinking about that as well.
Yeah.
What is the company? What's their reputation? What is their financial stability? What is their ability to service? Because it's more than just buying a piece of machinery.
Yeah.
You need to buy a partner.
Right.
And that partner needs to be able to provide you with a wide variety of tools and services. And that's how we built METALForming. First we sold a guy a folding machine, then we sold him a shear, then we sold him a portable roll forming machine, and then he grew up, and then we sold him a 20-foot long yarns machine, and then we sold him coil processing equipment. Find somebody you can grow with, find somebody you can trust,
Yes.
find somebody that's got real financial stability, and pay attention to that as well as the machine and its features and functions.
Right. I really like what you're talking about with service too, because if you think about it, what you just said earlier, your techs, your specialists are going to be talking to that machine directly. How often does that happen? And it's not happening all the time out there. So that's the kind of stuff. It's like I always think when you want to buy a new phone, right? I'm always like, get the newest one, because then I only have to learn it, and maybe it'll last me a couple years.
Well, the other thing that's ongoing at the moment, that's also in its infancy, is we represent an Austrian company called MicroC, who has a software called Bendix, and that software can drive all of the machinery. So a customer can go online, look at the Bendix software, order what he needs, including custom shapes for trim and so on. He can send that information into the software. The software will send him back a quotation automatically. If he decides to buy it, he sends his order in, and that order is instructions to the machines what to produce and how to produce it. It's real. It's alive today.
Yeah.
It can be done today. Now, it's very new for a lot of customers, and it'll take a while for them to fully accept it, but that's what's happening.
Right.
And that technology is not tomorrow. That technology is today. We have it right now.
And it's the future.
And of course it's the future.
Yeah.
Of course it's the future, because it eliminates the need for all kinds of people to be involved in the process.
Right.
And it
right.
works.
That's it.
So.
And that's what it's really coming down to. We aren't going to have that many people, and we have to be able to automate.
We've got to provide the customer the product he wants to buy. We better figure out how to do it with a hell of a lot less resources.
Right.
Especially human resources.
Especially human resources. Yeah, that's just a given. So Steve, I know you're just getting into this, but I would always say one of the first things for contractors to do who want to get into this and want to get new machinery is come to the METALCON show. Right? I mean, I saw your booth over there. I saw the machines. You can learn more there than I think anywhere.
It's a good idea to touch and smell.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, we like to touch things around in this industry.
It's unusual to have a show where so much equipment is here and actually energized and able to demo right on the spot. Had a great discussion this morning, which epitomizes the type of person coming through the show. An individual coming in, he's a roofing contractor, he's thinking about fabricating his own sheet metal, he's thinking about doing that and potentially growing into where he's fabricating for other customers as well. And we started with a portable on-site machine and got into a discussion, as Jeff mentioned, into a folder, into a slitter. I mean, and it just built from there, and what it would take for him to make that investment to get in the business.
Right.
And the other takeaway for me was, as an independent contractor, that's a big investment. I mean, that may not be big dollars for a major corporation, but it's a big investment for that person.
Yes.
And to Jeff's point, they've got to trust who's standing behind that equipment, whether it's startup, whether it's training, or whether it's a down situation where they need field service.
Yeah.
So it really resonated with me sitting here today and watching them see firsthand how the equipment works, what it could do for them, and all the different types of product that just interlinked. And to Jeff's point, this Bendix software, as I've been learning about it, I mean, it's literally replacing companies that were doing handwritten quotes and handwritten instructions and then having to key into their machines what has to be built. It's really, a lot of efficiency gains.
The software is so intelligent that if a customer sends a drawing in of something that can't be produced, the software knows it and tells them can't make the part. Yeah. So
That's it. That's
it's really remarkable.
save time. No, and no duplicate entry. That everything is, working in the delivery. And when it gets on site, the production, it's right to go too. I think that's the other big thing. You don't want to waste the time. We only have so many roofers in the field too. It needs to be
They make
easy
their
for
money
them.
on the roof.
Yeah.
They make their money in the installation process. Anything that we can do that makes the installation process more reliable and more simple is a way to increase a contractor's profits. And that's what we do.
That's what you do. And you do it very well. Thank you. And thank you. This has just been a delight. So the big announcement, as we all know, new CEO of MetalForming. Jeff is going to retire. That's big news.
52 years is long enough.
I know. Does anybody really believe you?
I don't know. I believe me.
You believe you.
My wife hates the idea, but I'm going to do it.
But it's all good. And I do want to say, too, I mean, if you're not here at MetalCon, you can find all this information. You can have these conversations to really understand what you need, because that's part of exactly what METALForming does, is to understand your needs and to bring that together. Whether that's a phone call into the company, getting on Metal Coffee Shop and Roofers Coffee Shop, going to the directory, finding out what's going on. We're going to have a lot of articles. This is cool stuff. A lot of great automation, new technology that just makes it fun. So one last question. 25-year anniversary. So you're having a little bit of a celebration tonight.
We are. We've invited numerous customers to stop by for cocktails and hors d'oeuvres and so on. And we thought that 25 years was an important anniversary, and we wanted to share it with the guys that made it possible, which is the customers.
Right.
So.
That's great. Well, and you also invited us, so thank you.
Yes.
We're going to be there too. We're going to be
good.
listening to those customers and all their great stories.
Come visit us.
We will.
We've got an open bar.
Oh, dang. Oh, dang. I love that.
Yeah.
So, well,
All right.
Jeff, again, thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
got you right before retirement. Thank you for being here, and thank you for this interview. This has been phenomenal, as always. You always have such great information.
Nice to see you and see him next year.
I
Yeah,
will.
perfect.
We'll have you here next year, right? Or
Absolutely.
maybe even a little bit in between. You
Maybe.
never know on
Maybe.
some podcast. We'll give you a little bit more time to slide in.
There you go.
But thank you. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
And we're really looking forward to seeing the next 25 years.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Thanks, Heidi.
That's so great.
All right.
And thank
Bye.
you all for being here. This was a roofing road trip live at MetalCon. So you're going to be able to hear this not only on YouTube, but you'll be able to see it on our podcast channels, which you can always find our podcast on Roofers Coffee Shop or Metal Coffee Shop under Read, Listen, Watch. So don't miss a single one. Be sure to set your notifications so you see us all week. This is it for today. We're going to go to the 25th anniversary and go visit with our metal forming friends. But we'll be back tomorrow morning. Lots of interviews straight from MetalCon. Thank you and have a great evening.